Order of Light presents a new era of contact, UFO sightings and strange anomalies, secret space programs and off-world adventures, advanced technologies and new discoveries, extraterrestrial abductions and contactees. Now is the time to speak. As we explore the unknown, the uncertain, and unseen, we are the disclosure, and these are those stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, all of you wonderful beings of light out there. Tonight, we have a very special guest, Gabriele Heikamp. She was in My First Contact, Part 1, where she went over in a small 10-minute clip of some of her knowledge, wisdom, and experiences. But believe me when I say Gabriele has way more information than that, and 10 minutes definitely wasn't enough. We just got done talking behind the scenes for a good hour or so, and we're like, oh, I guess we have to start this interview. So I'm so excited to have you on, and she is coming from Germany, and we will go more into detail of her spiritual journey and what she's doing and some of the experiences she has had. But before we get started, everyone that's watching this, please hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe to the channel. It really helps out the page. And with that being said, Gabriele Heikamp, hello, how are you? Welcome to the channel all the way from Germany. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me. I'm happy and excited to talk with you.
Yeah, really excited. And whoo, did you blow our minds in My First Contact for a 10-minute video clip? You know, like, whoa. The information you dropped, a lot of the responses, a very popular comment. She's like the Dolores Cannon of Germany. Holy smokes, people were blown away by everything you were presenting in there. And for a 10-minute video clip, it was absolutely incredible. And I said, I have to have Gabriele on for a, full interview, because I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. And with that being said, Gabriele, can you share with everyone a little bit where you're from, who you are, just a little bit about yourself before we go into your spiritual journey and your experiences and the things you've learned? But we just want to get to know you a little bit better. Who are you?
I'm still trying to find that out. Who am I? That's the big question for humanity. Who are you? Where do you come from? And where do you go? Well, I'm German. I'm 66. I was a graphic designer, but now I'm officially a widow, and I'm doing what I love, which is being a medium and trying to help people. So, what else? I live in the middle of Germany, near Frankfurt. And what else to say about me? It's not about me. It's about a lot of the experiences that many people have nowadays, because the veil is thinning and they are perceiving things, but they don't know what it is. And it started with me the same. And at a certain point of my journey, I lost my husband, and I was able to accompany him. And I wouldn't do that as a human. Sit at the bed of your husband, your beloved, dying, and you can't do anything. Helplessness is awful. But it opened a door, and I felt that there were different energies present, and I wanted to know more. It wasn't the first death I was confronted with, and felt that there is more, and I felt the spirits or the souls still around me. So I found my teachers in mediumship, which were very much boots to the ground, which I love. Come to the point. Don't waste my time talking hours and hours. I want to know. I want to practice. And they had a very good training coming from the English tradition. And I spoke about that already in the 10 minutes video, because the English tradition is a special construct how to operate with mediumship. But for me, it was a really good basis to deal with everything that's going on now.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so sorry to hear about your husband. That must have been incredibly hard. And as you stated, that sometimes when we lose someone that we love so much, it really, enforces within us something we didn't realize that was there. It's an awakening point. I know after I lost my mother and having to be there and watch that process of someone that you love dying right in front of you, it changes you as an individual. And with that being said, Gabriel, how many years ago was this when you lost your husband? And if you could you talk more about how that spiritually led you on the path where you are today?
That's 13 years now. Wow, the holy 13. Here we go
Oh,
again. Well, I was able to spend the last 4 weeks with him in the hospital, with very friendly personnel. And they were from the anthroposophical medicine school. So they still knew a little bit about dying. And when I stopped resisting and denying and just gave myself into the process, I felt that there were energies in the room, and he was full of morphine, not conscious. And he said things that I thought, whoa, that's really strange. He said, why is the room so full if it's only you that's sitting here? And I thought, well, maybe what I read and what I hoped and wished is really true. There are angels coming. There are your beloved family members that are already crossed over. They are coming to greet you and to help you transition. And so after stopping to fight, I could really make the journey with him. And with his last breath out of the body, the whole room was full of his presence. And I never felt him like that before, when he was in the body entering a room. And it was just pure love and joy. And I had the vision of a little boy just chipping around and singing and dancing. And I thought to myself in my little ego mind, well, okay, you're happy on the other side. That's good to know. And even I, as stupid human, can understand that, because this image of a dancing boy and the presence filling the room was really, that was true, and it felt true, and it's reality. And since then, I have a wonderful conversation with him. I started my mediumship, I have to admit, some kind of egoistically, because I felt this bond and I could feel him around. And the love does not end when the body ends. So I tried, how can I communicate with him? And well, the mediumship trains you how to communicate with whatever entity from whatever density. But you better not open your door for darkness. So if you open yourself, you better give, like in the GPS, a good address like Source Directly or the White Light or Archangel Michael, something like that. You're not content with the third violinist from the orchestra to learn from him how to play violin. You're going to the first violinist to learn how to play the violin. So that started my journey. And since then, I'm in contact and conversation with all sorts of beings. In the last 2 years, appeared suddenly the extraterrestrials, the ETs. And that's really interesting. I love the journey, and I want
Wow.
more.
And I want to bring this up because you said, as you know, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this with your husband, but as you said, some of the conversations and things he was presenting to you was a little out of the normal. And maybe that took you a long time to process. And for example, for everyone that's watching this, 2 years before my mother passed away, my mother was in a coma on life support for almost a whole month. They were going to pull the plug on my mother. I laid my hands on her and I had to sacrifice a lot, and I brought my mother back to life. And when my mother came back to life after a month on life support, the first words she said, which is so weird, she said, "I saw Buddha. Beautiful." We were not Buddhists. My mom don't know nothing about Buddha, India, none of that. And I was so taken back, out of all things, for her to say, after coming back from this coma, being dead for an entire month, and me doing whatever I did to bring her back, which I most indeed did, for her to say that kind of really, shattered my reality. Like your husband was saying, why is this room so full? What are all these other beings and entities and energies and vibrations and frequencies all around? And Gabrielle, you're sitting there. I'm the only one in this room. What are you talking about? And I understand that. And when my mom said, "Oh, Buddha's beautiful," I'm like, I haven't seen Buddha. What's going on here? And so my question to that, Gabrielle, is, was this something of vibration and frequency? Was that love and that little child of your husband that you saw so happy? Was this like a frequency thing going on in that room? How would you describe that? I think it's so important because we all go through losing loved ones and going through this situation. So, how would you describe that?
Well, actually, we are not losing the loved ones. They are getting rid of their body because the soul accomplished the task of this life, and we are still connected with them. Only we are programmed to think that death is the end. No, it's a transition into another state of consciousness. And consciousness is about frequency and which frequency you vibrate. If you stay too long in grief and sorrow, they're around you. They stay at least 2 or 3 weeks until the funeral and a little time after that. They can't come close and they can't really reach you because you surround yourself with clouds of dark thoughts of sorrow and feeling of grief, because we on this side, we experience it as a loss, but it's opening the door. And I saw him happy and I felt the energy in the room. And I thought, I want more of this, so I better go and search for it. And when I Googled, I found the mediumship trainment. And then suddenly my left side, where I always felt him, that's about the feminine and the masculine radiating sides of the body, suddenly started burning with fire, and he was on my side and going like, yeah, go to this seminar, go to this workshop, try the mediumship trainment, I'm with you. And the funny thing, there in the first coffee break, there was a clairvoyant homeopath, which I didn't know, and we started talking, and he said, may I ask you something? And I said, yes, okay, everything. Do you know that you've got somebody with you? And I laughed, thinking, oh, that's my husband. he can see him. And I said to that guy, well, can you describe what the being looks like? And he started, well, he's long and tall and he has nearly no hair and it's gray and he's wearing glasses and got light green eyes and very slim and very friendly and loving energy. And I said, oh yeah, you can already stop. That's my husband. He told me he would come with me to this workshop. So that was the proof.
Confirmation, validation for you.
We all need validation and confirmation to trust in our first impression. That's what mediumship trainment, the first sentence is, trust your first impression. It's always right because it's coming from your gut feeling or your heart. It's intuition. That's soul or spirit talking to you, but they're not talking in words. They're talking in feelings, vibrations, frequencies, and images. Soul speaks in images. That's why Yeshua used all these allegories and these stories and legends, because that brings your mind to go into the inner pictures. So you're starting a creative process, which is part of a spiritual journey, I think. And I once asked my spirit guides about names. I wanted to know a special name of a special energy or entity. And they told me, that's really funny. They said, if we tried to tell you the name, you would never understand it because it's like a melody, like frequency. We are singing vowels and tones and things, and the melody is already changing and always changing because the being is growing and evolving. So tomorrow evening, we still sit here trying to give you what you call name, which is in reality a frequency. So stop the name game. You're just putting labels on something, calling it this, calling it that. Feel the energy and you know the quality.
Whoa! No labels, no titles. These beings, the energy dimensional light being that I saw, it has a name that humans have gave to it, but it's not its name. It's frequencies, vibrations, and feelings. And we, as human beings, we choose an earthly name to describe people. That's Frank, that's Sarah, that's Gabrielle, that's Robert. But that's not the true frequency to what Frank, Sarah, Robert, and Gabrielle gives off. Their soul has a frequency and a vibration. And these frequencies and vibrations are our true names. And those true names, as you said, Gabrielle, can change due to what we're going through. Some days we might be at a low frequency. Other days we might be, it depends, but we are sound and frequency and vibration. Beautiful.
The true name that's written in the book.
Yeah.
So has got a book.
Yeah. So, after having that experience, which kind of really just opened your eyes to all of this, and you got involved with these courses and training and education on how to tap into your natural abilities that all of us have, everyone that's watching this, we all have this, but sometimes it does take that little extra to put in the time and education to learn these things. And at what point, because the situation with your husband, that was someone you knew, that was someone that you felt, someone you loved and care about deeply. At what point in your spiritual journey after your husband did other things start to get involved? Dimensional beings, ETs, other people that were not your husband. How did that come to be?
Well, when I started the trainment for mediumship, I had the idea that because for me, it was making me happy. And I wanted to work with that. And it felt much better than being a graphic designer in advertisement, always making the lies look colorful and beautiful and make the people buy things they don't know, they don't need, and who are even bad. So I had the idea of working with people, working with clients, and after just a few months, I got my first clients. Universe sent them to me. I don't have a healing room or something special, and I'm working mostly on the phone. So I got the first clients and I could help them, and that developed. In the beginning were many people coming because of they had the same experience I had gone through, and mine, losing my husband and accompanying him, it didn't end bad, like in totally sorrow and grief, but it opened a door for me, so it was lighter and I was still in contact. And so I knew, well, there really is a life after death. It's not ending, and this I can share with people, and I can help them to get the messages from their deceased loved ones. So that was the first part in which I started to work, and I gave messages from deceased ones from the beyond to their beloved that are still here on this side. And then I did some things that our teachers did not advise us to do, but I'm kind of a rebel soul. I always go against the limits and the borders. They told us, if you want to try how to receive messages, you got to open up and invite the spirits. So don't invite the dark ones, only invite the positive light ones. So one time we were sitting, me and a colleague, and we were trying this to invite every being that's of the light, not only the deceased ones, to come and give us a message. And we sat there, and suddenly my colleague said, "Oh, I'm seeing a being that's hiding behind your chair. It doesn't want to show himself because it knows it's ugly and it doesn't want to frighten us." And I felt so touched, and I thought, whoa, what kind of caring, not trying to scare us and being like that. And then we heard it knocking 3 times like on wood. The being was knocking and asking for entrance, and I said again, "Okay, you're welcome." We said, we open up for every being of light. Come, whoever you are, whatever you are. We don't care for ugly and anything, and just give your message. And there came a being that was really ugly looking to human standard. I would call it a kappa. That's a water being. They know in the Irish and English tradition, and also the Japanese know it. It looks a bit like a rotten body of a horse that's too long in the water, something like that. But it knew about it, and it was so loving and friendly, and it came and was dancing like that, and all the water drops were falling, and it was just smiling and bringing joy. And I was thinking, well, as a kid, when the rain falls, sometimes I ran outside and was jumping and dancing in the rain. And that was the simplest joy you can have as a child. And this creature was bringing that kind of joy to share with us as a message of joy. And I was so humbled. I thought, well, I know everybody would say this creature is ugly, but it filled our hearts with joy and love, and I was so grateful. And that was the lesson: never judge how anyone is looking like. Don't look what is determined as ugly. Sometimes the most beautiful energy and soul comes in a vessel that you won't recognize.
Yeah.
So just feel the energy and be grateful. So I learned lessons like that.
That's a beautiful lesson, and it's so important for human beings to understand that to some species of interdimensionals and extraterrestrials, human beings are extremely ugly.
We are the ugly, I
Yeah,
know.
we are the ugly. And for, as you said, for us not to judge something by the way it looks per se, but judge it by its frequency and vibration. Although this thing was hideous by not us, we think it's beautiful, but by mainstream people's ideas, to not judge things by the way it looks, but yet judge it by the frequency and the vibration that it puts out there. Is it a loving? Because you said this thing looked really wild, really out of there, and I loved your description of it because it's definitely something really strange you were envisioning, you know. But the frequency that came off of it was light and love and positivity and happiness. And as you said, going out in the rain and dancing around as a kid, when I was a child, when we would have really bad rainstorms, I would get my shampoo. I would run out there with a pair of shorts on, and I would take my showers outside in the rain. Also, when I was a professional musician traveling around the country on tour, if I didn't have a shower and there was rain, I would use the rain and just, scrub myself and just the good old way, And there is a joy, connection of frequency that happens in those situations that as a child going out running in the rain and that connection. Oh, look, this is taking care of me. It's a beautiful connection, and you had that same experience with this very strange spirit being, whatever we want to call it, that you were encountering. That's wonderful. And after that experience, I'm sure that really opened up a whole nother thing. And did you start to have other beings come in after that one in general? Was this something that continued, or was it one time and never happened again?
No, then came the fairies and the dwarfs, and I got an invitation into the dwarf realm, which I was so busy. I thought I was so busy. Actually, 2 years passed after I really used the invitation to the dwarf realm, and that happened also on a seminar of my teachers, where we did exercises just in small groups with 2 or 3 people. And another woman who doesn't know anything about me, we're ordered, when you make exercises in groups, go with the people you don't know, and don't go with the people you know to form a group. That's more interesting with the ones you don't know, that don't know all your stories you already told at the coffee bar. So a woman who didn't know me and didn't know anything about me, she was drawing a picture, because you can get the message in different ways. You can speak. Some musicians, they delivered the messages in this training area with their instruments, so it was music. And some who were into drawing or writing, they were writing things or they were drawing. So this woman was drawing the trunk of a tree that was cut in the wood, and it had an opening, like a little cave. And in front of this opening stood a little dwarf, really like from the fairy tales, with the hat.
The little hat, like
yeah,
a gnome, like a gnome.
Exactly. And the funny thing is what I learned from this guy at the entrance. I looked at this hat and I started wondering in my mind, it telepathically is speaking in your mind. And he got it. And I was thinking, I always wonder why do they wear these red hats? And then suddenly his head went like this. And I understood, oh, it's not a hat, it's his focused fire energy, and he can move it around. The
Wow.
one flame, that was really interesting. So this little guy in front of the opening in the trunk, that was the picture she drawed for me, and she wrote under it, it's an invitation from the dwarfs. You can come anytime. So 2 years later, in my bed, when I'm closing my eyes, I always got this stream of pictures, consciousness. I stopped trying to understand all of it because it's just too much. And
one thing I want to ask you, because you're kind of going over, and I want to bring this point up because I think that you just kind of, answered it, and when it comes to these dwarfs and gnomes and them knowing for having that pointy hat, what
yeah,
you're saying is it has nothing to do with a hat.
it's not a hat.
The hat is symbolism for a higher frequency of consciousness coming off of these creatures, and that's why they put the little hat on them.
That's the translation the human consciousness uses it to make us understand, and it puts it into a red hat. But it's their flame of consciousness and it's focused. That's why it's pointy. And fire is the element of thought and even transition and transformation. And they can move this focus around. But we perceive it, if you see on the ethereal levels, we perceive it as something red, triangle, pointy, and we think, well, we are used to wear hats on our head, so we name it a hat, but it's not a hat.
That's wonderful. And I believe that most hats are a representation of this, whether it's the Vatican and the Babylonian fish
Yes,
hats,
yes,
or whether it's a gnome or dwarf hat, or a cowboy hat, or a yarmulke, or so many things. It's symbolization of something much higher, a
yeah.
representation of something more than a hat. Wow.
Well, Rudolf Steiner from the Anthropological Society used to say, a hat keeps your thoughts together. So if you think of the mental field around your head, which we know from many old pictures in medieval as the holy circle around the head, that's the mental corpse that
The
wasn't.
sun.
Yes, yes. So, and you can help focusing it if you wear a hat in your physical. But you're meant to train it with your psychic abilities to focus and form this witch or sorcerers or dwarf head, whatever you like to call it. It's not what we think. It's got nothing to do with a head.
And it really goes to show, for example, Judaism and the yarmulke, the little hat they wear. In Islam, the same situation, and many others as well. And it kind of goes back to my native cultures. We talk about our hair, and our hair, we call it antennas.
They
And antennas for us to connect with the frequency and Mother Earth. And as you said, it's almost like hats and things of this nature can also harness this energy in the same way that hair does.
Well, it's quasi an analogy of the technical function or the mechanics of the pyramid. So hair is the antenna. It's etherical, very receptive. If you rub your foot, sometimes your hair stands up and gets electrical. So if you focus this with a pyramid form, so you're forcing the energy to focus in a point above, which we don't only have these 7 chakras, we have some more. So you're focusing on a higher chakra point with the pointy head or the triangle or the pyramid, which focuses your mental energy.
Absolutely. And that's amazing you bringing that up, because that focus point. And you take the human body, right? You take the human body and you go like that. You spread the legs, you hold out your arms, you got your legs spread, all that. And that focal point. And this is the part of the human body where we have the most hair. It's right here. There's a reason for that. And as you
There's a
said,
reason for everything.
yeah, and the pyramid of that and how that energy really taps through that, whether you're using a hat or a hat is a representation of what happens naturally within us. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Or
I
just
love that.
think of the Petruvian Man from Da Vinci. He's standing in the circle forming the 5-star. So
Pentagram.
here we go again.
But that's evil. Hold on. I love it when people are like, oh, pentagrams are evil. It's witchcraft, satanic.
The people just, even Yeshua said, my people get lost because they don't have the knowledge. The knowledge is like that. You have strong white magical signs. If you turn them around, they are the contrary. So they're black magic. If you take the pentacle with one point up to the sky, to the source, to light, to the divine, it's always white magical. If you turn it around with the one point below, so then it becomes the contrary, and you can put names on it, whatever you want.
And both are needed for all of it to exist. As above, so below. You can't have light without darkness. And at the end of the day, what you're suggesting is we need to stop putting all of our focus and intent into symbology, because it can be interpreted so many different ways. And we just need to really focus on the frequency and vibration of, what we resonate with. And at the end of the day, a symbol is just a tool representing frequency. That tool or frequency can be used to make beautiful music, or it can be used to enslave an entire culture of people.
Exactly.
Right?
It depends on the depends on the user and his motivation.
Exactly. And I really hope that may speak to some people, because a lot of people out there, they'll see a symbol that used to be something positive. A negative group of people started using that symbol, and now that symbol you are not allowed to use whatsoever, because there's a negative people that are using it, which we really need to focus and understand that symbols are representations of frequency, and no one would ever dare call a sound or a vibration something negative or really positive. It's just vibration and sound. It's what people do with that. Like, if you hear a G note, an A note, B major, C minor, F sharp, they're just musical notes. You're not like, oh, that's awful. Oh, I'm being attacked. It's just notes. It's how it's compiled and how it's used that really makes it what it is. For example, you have those beautiful musical notes, and then you have some rapper talking about murdering and killing people. Yo, 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 I just popped someone up in the streets. Oh, I got his mom, like that kind of situation. That's a negative onto, frequency. It's not the music that's negative. It's the human words that are associated with that frequency that makes that music really, really bad.
Exactly. And it's more or less the same with language. We can't use special words because they got some kind of negative feel around and you don't like to use it. So it's all the same game every time. I tell you, once I was at the coffee with some friends, and one guy came and he had the Nordic rune game where you can, like tarot cards, you can choose one of the runes, and he put that thing on the table, and I always knew about the runes that they're really magical and powerful, and I never touched them and I never felt drawn. So I was confronted with it, and I don't want it to be the bad one who's not playing along. So he opened this little sack with the little wooden runes in it. And immediately I felt and saw a Nazi presence. You won't believe it. But it made sense to me because they set themselves upon this old magical instrument and abused it. So they were the first to come. And I thought, no, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Go away. And I sent them away. And then the real rune power could open up itself. It was really interesting. This was totally different after I sent this negative energy away who occupied the natural, neutral, magical instrument of a former Viking culture.
Absolutely. So after you had these experiences and you started to, become more aware of kind of what was going on, you briefly stated that you started to get into, helping others with this and listening to others' experiences and performing hypnosis and etc. So if you could, from these experiences that you had leading up to that point and having these experiences, at what point did you get the calling or the idea to start to help others in finding out more about themselves? And how did all of that occur?
Well, this kind of helping gene I already brought with me, and I think a lot of starseeds have the same condition, and sometimes it's very, very hard because already as a children I was coming with kittens that I rescued somewhere, and my parents couldn't help. Well, she's bringing all these animals, and I was always into helping, and sometimes it was wrong or too much. So the helping, I don't know where it starts. I think it is part of the divine soul we all have, or better, the other way around. The soul has us. So I wanted to do something with what I had learned, and so I felt the urge to go outside, and close to where I live, just half an hour by car, there's a little spiritual center with some friends, and the woman there I knew from what's it called, from some convention, spiritual convention, and she is working with the Indian fire ritual, and she has a lot of guests that are coming and doing workshops and seminars, or evenings and events with 2, 3, or 4 hours. So I felt the urge to offer some of my work there, like doing, as it is usual in England, a public demonstration where people can come, they pay a little money, and you give a a message, whatever comes through, maybe deceased, maybe something about their spiritual path or whatever, through to the public. And yes, after I found Dolores Cannon, that really made a big change, because I thought, now I got the right instrument to work with people who really want, and they are not just talking, they really want to make a change and open a door to their inner wisdom, their inner connection. And I tried hypnosis, QHHT hypnosis, before I started the training, because I already had a hypnosis training. But that was from a guy who was more that TV and show hypnosis. I knew it's a strong force you work with, and they make the people acting like a chicken on the in public. I can't understand it. You can use it for much better things. So when I tried the hypnosis, I came into this theta trance. That's we know the alpha state, the alpha waves from brain waves, we know is in meditation. Beta is more or less conscious, but how often do you drive during the day and you don't know how you got there? You're not totally conscious on beta. You're always changing between alpha and beta. And theta is the one everybody passes through every night and every morning, waking up and going to sleep, entering deep sleep, the delta phase. But you can't put your finger on, when did I wake up? When did I fell into sleep? Because it's a very short phase. And the quantum hypnosis prolongs this phase by starting to talk to the person and advising or guiding. And Dolores found some methods how you can get very easily contact with the subconscious. I don't think it's the subconscious. I had so many clients, and I recognize it's always the same quality of energy and wisdom that's talking to me through many different people, and I feel it's all the same. It feels like all our subconscious or higher selves, they are united in a special level. You can call it like, it's like an Akasha chronic or something. They form a collective, and you speak with the highest forces of this collective. And
the subconscious is somehow like what you're saying, that it's not necessarily each individual subconscious. Your belief is all of our subconsciouses are connected to something much, much larger than what we perceive. And this very large thing, universal consciousness, source energy, whatever it is, you're picking up on that found within each person that you're working with and through their subconscious, correct?
Exactly.
Wow.
And there comes really, to me, in the best possible way, because not I as a medium am saying something I perceive about this person, or I'm not channeling any other being about this person, this client. It's coming through the client's own mouth, and he can feel how it feels inside while he's in hypnosis, that there is another force that is using his mouth and is speaking through him. And where he wanders and is confused about his problems in life, this force says, he just has to focus. Not a single unnecessary word. No, oh, I don't know, I think it's bam, bam, bam. I love this. I love this way of speaking the truth of the subconscious or higher self, call it whatever you want. And the ETs and most of the beings I encountered in the different etherical realms, they are like that. They don't talk all this unnecessary small talk we humans talk. They speak on soul level. They say, you haven't chosen already, so you can't go on. I once asked a friend of mine in Brazil, she's clairvoyant from birth. I had to train it. And she sometimes can't discern whether she's seeing a living person or a dead person, because they are the same for her. I see the dead person always like a nebular figure, and it's transparent and slightly gray. But they see,
cloudy,
like that.
transparent,
Yeah,
fog.
exactly. Well, and they tell each client exactly what he needs to know, and they show pictures of maybe former lives. If you're not open enough to believe in former lives and reincarnation, then they take pictures from this life. Doesn't matter. They can show you in some kind of situation what's the symbolic, where's the red ribbon, what's the conclusion. And I even had a guy in hypnosis who was already in 5D. And as he was describing, you make the people describe where they are, their surroundings, and what they experience. Are they alone? Are they male? Are they female, young, old? And what do they do there? Are they going somewhere? Do they have some kind of work or mission? And you can find out anything. It's really fantastic. And that guy was describing things. I thought, well, it must be another planet, or I don't know. He was saying, we are living within the trees. We have fantasy houses. Everybody has the house, his dream house. And his dream house was, he already constructed it years ago, just like a mind game to get rid of the idea. He was drawing it on the paper, and it was totally glass around a big tree. And he said the trees, they were glowing with light. So the people didn't need light in the new 5D. The trees, all the plants, even every single blade of grass was glowing with light. And I thought, well, where are you? And he said, I'm in the new 5D. And I said, wow, yeah.
Take me with you. Come on.
So
wow.
I've got everything. I got fairies. I got one woman who was a unicorn incarnation, and they show you what is necessary from your last incarnation, which had to deal with the same thing you are dealing now.
Oh, wow. And side note, you just brought up a unicorn reincarnation. I have a friend, Angel Wings, just in case she's watching this right now. We were talking, and she said in her energetic, her higher frequency body, she says unicorn, not like an actual unicorn, but the energetic property created this horn. And she was saying how, like, her horn is like energetic in her higher form, and it's just like the hat, just like the gnome thing we're talking about.
It is focused energy that goes out from the third eye like a horn.
That's all right, Angel Wings, if you're watching this right now, I want you to appreciate what she's saying, because when I was talking to her, that was the first time I've ever heard anything like it. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I'm like, oh, unicorns? Okay. But once she explained it and the energetic property coming, I said, oh, this makes perfect sense. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting, this information that you get and the things you learn from talking to others. And a great point that you brought up, Gabrielle, is that everything that we need to know about who we are, regardless of what density, dimension, universe, or reality we may be in, is all within us. And
Exactly.
what you do, you facilitate, you help people get to the answers that just lie within them. You don't manipulate it, you don't change it, you just help them rediscover, because it's already there. It's just the rediscovery of what is already within us, right?
Yes, because I really loved and honor Dolores Cannon and her method, because she says the client is the one who is making the journey, and I'm only the facilitator. The client has to make a paper with his questions to, you can call it higher self or subconscious, to your inner God. So what do you want to know? And I had nearly no client who did not ask, what is my mission in this life? And you can ask anything. Why does my knee is hurting from? What is my mission? So I'm asking the questions from the client, and I'm not doing anything. And if I don't understand something or think maybe there she can need help, I'm putting another question. And I also advise the people, think about the mechanics of question. If you ask only, why does this always happen to me? Why? You get only the answer for why. And that might be past. This is because that and that happened in your past, and that's why you are doing like this. So, but if you ask, how can I handle better this and that? This how is open up a door. So you're getting much more information. You get the explanation why it happens, from where it comes, and how to heal or solve it. And that's the important thing. So it's really about the art of questioning.
Yeah, as we said before doing the interview, to ask the right question will help you receive the right answer. And as you are stating, a lot of times it's why is this happening? Why? It's not about why, it's how. And from how and the right question, we're able to understand so we can move past why. You know,
Exactly.
oh wow, that's beautiful. And you've worked with a lot of different people and you've heard a lot of different things. And if you could, Gabriel, what is the most valuable, the most important thing that you have learned from working with people and listening to people, you know, as we were just saying, why or how? So, why and how are you doing this? And what have you learned from working with people, helping them discover more about themselves? What have you learned out of that from asking these questions? What is your biggest takeaway, the knowledge that you would like to leave with everyone of why it's so good to do this and how we can learn from helping others?
Because, like all the old ones tell us since thousands of years, we are all one. Now, quantum physics is proving, yes, we are one because all our atoms are on the quantum level entangled. So if I help another one, I help myself, and they help me. Every client I had brought a problem that I also had in myself. So we were both working on the same thing. And I experienced every client and every QHHT session also as a learning for me. And I grew so much with all these people, listening to their stories and then offering the tool how to get the answer from inside yourself, because it's all within you. You are the everlasting soul. What didn't you understand about everlasting soul? This is 80 years of life, but you were there before you came into this body. You will be there after you leave this body, and you have family in all the realms, and just to incarnate here, you have to, like in school, you have to absolve the ground classes. You have to incarnate as an element, as fire, water, air, or soil. Then you have to incarnate as a plant. Then, and no, as a mineral and stone. Then you have to incarnate as a plant. Then as an animal, and at least as a human. And there's a saying I love, I really love it, from the Sufi. They say, uh, God is sleeping in the stone, breathing in the plant, dreaming in the animal, and awakening in the human. And that's what it's all about. This is the dream. Wake up, dear soul. You got
Everything.
everything, you can everything create. You got friends, you're not alone, you've never been. Now you're starting to see and feel them, and stop interpreting wrong or judging. Just be open for a light and fruitful experience. And whatever is on your mind, if you have a question, just think about it. And after that, stop thinking, drop into a little meditation, 3 minutes, where you just focus on your breath, which connects you directly. And when you feel, you can't think. And in feeling comes the answer. And the universe always answers directly. You can see the signs everywhere. Sometimes even a bird is coming to my window when I was thinking about something. And usually birds don't do that. I feed them and they know they have enough to eat, but they come to the window and they really knock at the glass and make like this in front of the window. And I think, oh, what do you want to tell me? Oh, okay, now I got it.
That's
Everything is
wonderful.
the universe is in sync with everybody who wants to do the work, go inside and ask questions and listen and feel for the answers. It's that simple, really.
Yeah.
But we have to leave our head and the thought and start learning to feel again and trust this feeling. First impression, first feeling is always right. Then
Mhm.
comes the brain saying, hey, you can't know this. It's always the same. It's like the little guy in the brain who does not want the change and who is fearful of
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, exactly. And change is something uncomfortable. And I love the Sufi. For everyone that's watching this, we were talking a little bit behind the scenes and my study of Sufism when I lived in the Middle East and Turkey. I learned a lot. And what you just stated about being a rock, being a plant, being an animal, and then being a human, and understanding that you need to be all of these things to truly understand universal consciousness and source connectivity. That's what's going on with that. And as you were talking about the birds, something that came to me after reading the Quran, and it's kind of said in the Bible too, but there was a verse in the Quran I read, loosely based off the Bible, and it was someone that was asking Allah, can you give me a sign of your existence? How can I know that God, Allah, Vishnu, whatever you want to call this source energy, it don't matter, that you exist? And in the Quran, Allah says, do you see the birds flying around? Do you see that they don't need clothes, food, or anything? They're absolutely taken care of. If if the universe is willing to do that for a bird or a rock or a tree, what do you think I'm willing to do for you? You know, you're all a part of it. Like, what? Why would the ones with a huge brain and major intelligence and advanced extraterrestrial DNA get snubbed and pushed off to the side versus everything else that is treated equal? That's the point of that. The trees, the rocks, the animals, us. It's all in the same playing field. And if those things can exist, well, so can we. And it all lies within. That's beautiful, amazing stuff. And with all these experiences, and you've really been going over with a lot of people their soul journey. But from that moment of you doing this, have you, have you seen UFOs? Have you experienced orbs or, paranormal? What kind of things, since you've been doing this, have you been, experiencing anything that's absolutely normal, but not so normal in today's world, I guess?
Well, I found a lot of orbs on my photographs because I like to take photos, but I never saw them with my own eye.
Hmm.
And I felt presences. And I started also to do this Indian fire ritual, which I don't know whether you ever heard about it. It's called Agni Hotra. You're chanting a special mantra and you're lighting a fire from the what's it called, the leftovers of the cow when it has eaten. I don't know the word in English, sorry. And it's got to be pure because the cow is vegetarian. And you light this with some Indian ghee, which is a type of butter. And
the cow poop. You light the
the
cow
cow
poop.
poop.
Cow
Exactly.
poop on fire. It's very
Yeah.
flammable. It's
Yeah.
vegetarian, so it's natural,
Yeah.
recycled, pure.
With the ritual, you create some kind of portal of light. And you can, whatever energies or lost souls that are still here and didn't made it over to the light side, you can call them and they can enter this portal and use the ritual to go back into the light. And you can do this to clean areas, to clean the ground. If you have bad influences or energies from the war and leftovers from history in your surrounding, in your backyard, even in your living room. So with that, I started to come in contact with some of the dark energies. I saw a lot of warriors from former times which were still bound to the ground as if they were sitting in a hole. And they were like in the comic pictures, they were chained like in the medieval with an iron chain and a big chain, a ball, a sphere of metal. And when I looked at them, I immediately knew that inner knowing. They are not changed because they experienced the war and all the suffering. They are changed because they still think about it and haven't let go of this experience. Some of them, they didn't even know that they are dead. They are still in this mindset. So
Dimensionally stuck in a dimension.
Yeah. Some people that don't believe in anything, if they die, well, they thought it's over and suddenly they are still there. So they are stuck there because it does not match with their belief.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And you can help them with offering the Hawaiian healing ritual from Ho'oponopono, the kahunas from Hawaii, which is about forgiveness, forgiving yourself that you couldn't react better, that you didn't understand it, and forgiving the other who was the so-called perpetrator. But I know that we change places. Whose victim now was perpetrator once. We play all the roles in all the incarnations to get the whole picture. If you
have to. Have to.
If you only incarnate as a man, what can you learn? If you only incarnate as a woman, what will you learn?
Nothing.
We need everything to get the whole picture.
If you only reincarnate as a human being and not a tree or an animal or a rock, you learn nothing. This is it. This is it.
Is everything and infinite, and we haven't got a clue. We are just starting to scratch the surface. There are so many other dimensions, And the universe, the whole cosmos is teeming with life in forms we can't imagine. My spirit guides told me every species you see on this earth is transported to here to make this big divine zoo from another planet. So it's the best the other planets had, and we brought it all together here to mix this wonderful zoo, and you are meant to be a new species, a new human. And we're also a mix, and we have to find our potential to bring it to the light and to live it and practice it. And that's what we're doing it at the moment. We're on this journey. We're at the point, we're at the brink. Everybody can feel the energies. Change is at hand. My spirits told me they don't like to give prophecies for future, because they say there is no future. You decide. It's 50-50. What do you want? So
I love that divine zoo. That is perfect. I love that. I've heard of like zoo, but the word divine zoo, that really describes what Earth is. It
yeah,
truly is. And there's a lot of different spirits, beings, things, whatever, things we don't even know what to call them. There's a lot involved on this planet, and this planet is really old. And some of the spirits, dimensional beings, extraterrestrials that are on this planet are much older than us, the animals in the zoo. The builders of the zoo need to build the zoo first, and then the animals are collected and put in there. An environment, an ecosystem is created. But there are those that are creating the zoo. And we're but the little monkeys in the zoo, this divine zoo. And like you said, it's the best of the galaxy. And every now and then, some of the worst.
Well, we got some mutations. That's when you mix. If you create a new dish and you try a little bit of chili too much, well, okay, next time I leave it out. Yeah, the Earth is like an experiment, and there were many races here, and they were fighting among each other and on our back, and even used us as warriors, and we didn't mean anything to them. And they were of different kind. There were the good ones, and there were ones who were simply after power and greed and control, and they wanted something. They wanted to harness our divine energy, which we weren't aware of, and they wanted to harness some of the riches of the planet from the soil and the water and whatever. So it's like colonialism.
A great point you just brought up. Let's take a look through history of how us human beings have used animals for positive and negative things, such as eating, right? We raise livestock, chickens, cows that we eat. At the same time, we use horses as cars. You don't see people beating and smashing their Ford Mustangs, BMWs, Audis, Volkswagens, Hyundai. You see people loving their cars.
And dare you make a scratch onto my new Mustang?
Yeah, exactly. And the Mustang, these animals. And it just kind of shows that in the galactic scale of things, we are kind of used in the same way. Some of these beings are looking at us as a valuable resource for genetics, for materials, resources, to carry out an agenda or a mission or a plan on their behalf. And others look at us at the same way we look at ants. These little tiny things. Very strong, very powerful, but it's just a little tiny ant, and it changes.
Well, as long as we ourselves treat animals like that and have in some laboratories animals in cages and give them things to create tumors and find a cure against it, well, what are you doing to sentient beings, to consciousness who's making an experience of life in form of a rabbit or a dog? So if we treat them, who are our little brothers and sisters, if we treat them, the animals, like that, we create and open the door that others that are not so well-minded use us and look at us the same way, because it's all in us. There's light and there's shadow, and if I don't work on my own shadow and change it, I invite the external materialization and manifestation to practice this on myself, on me, because I'm the root cause, I'm the resonance, I'm still living this instead of changing. If I change the frequency, they can't touch you. The only help against black magic or dark entities is heighten up your frequency. They can't touch you. If they're from here and you are there, they can run and kick and scream. They can't touch you. It's all about
non-existent in that other frequency. You don't literally exist to them. And you brought up a great point. And yeah, there's positive grays, positive reptilians, and all this, but a lot of the ones that are negative, the reason why they're doing what they're doing is because they see human beings. They see, as you said, how we treat our livestock, how we consume, how we treat other human beings, how we judge other human beings. And a big part of what gives them the idea to say we can do the same thing to these humans is because they have no value towards anything. So if they treat something like this, why can't we treat them in the same way? And as you said, the best way to get around that is to raise our frequency and our vibration. Then we're untouchable. We don't exist to those fractions when we start to learn and appreciate. And when I show love to a bug, to an insect, I'm like, I don't want to kill it. And I'll take the insect, I take it outside, the spider, beetle, whatever it may be, and I just let it live outside. I don't like hurting or killing anything. And, anytime I do that, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, universe, I hope you see this, because I know there's things out there that look at you and I the same way as I'm looking at these bugs. I'm like, look, I'm showing compassion. I'm giving love. So when you come down here and you plan on annihilating me and crushing me and making me disappear, remember that I have love and compassion for the smallest of things. And I kind of tell the universe, don't forget about me. That's why I go out of my way to help things, regardless of how small it is. I'm a pretty big guy, and I just, like an elephant helping a mouse, that I love it. And I think there's something to be learned there. And I believe we, as a species of extraterrestrials known as human beings, if we can set the example, that maybe it will change how these beings see us. Right? What are your thoughts on that?
When I was younger, I tried to change the world and found out I couldn't. Then I was frustrated, and then I heard the Sufi saying, change yourself, that's even harder. And I thought, oh my God. But that's really the only thing that helps. Change yourself. Who do you want to be?
Be the change you want to see in the world. If you want the world to change, it doesn't mean you need to go to into politics in Germany, or you need to go to the White House in the government in America to really make a change in this world. It starts by nature around you, the people around you, the frequencies around you, the frequencies you give off. If you want to make real change in this world, it starts with you doing the smallest random acts of kindness. That's
Exactly.
all it takes. And you're right. And so many of us, we want to save everything, but we're like, I need to do something big. I need to get on television and let everyone know. It don't work like that. It's talking to that one crazy family. We all have a crazy uncle or aunt. It's helping those people get connected with their consciousness. And that's our mission. It might not be a beautiful mission, but it's what we need to do to help this situation and to really make change. It's helping people that are around us, our neighbors, our animals, the ants, the bugs you got crawling around in your house. It's all the same. And as we said in the beginning of this, we are being watched. We are
We are.
being watched. And it's good to remember you're being watched. So when you do something, like, oh, I hope you see this. Look at me, I'm being a good boy. That kind of
Yes, but
situation.
you don't really, actually, you don't have to tell the universe because everything is recorded. I found via the hypnosis that you can get out everything, the slightest, tiniest memory. The little child can't remember which time it was, whether it was cold or warm when it first came to this world and the mom was carrying it around. But if you bring back a smell from that time, then suddenly it opens up memories from the child, the soul inside the child, and there are coming, like, you can, with hypnosis you can whole get back the mind washed memory screen memories from abductions and everything. So your subconscious is recording everything. And the great subconscious of the divine is also recording everything. So nothing ever is lost or gets lost. And they know everything and they know what's happening and they watch us and they watch like the sun shines its light over the good ones and the righteous ones and the other ones. I don't want to name them bad names. It's a choice. And tell you what, I wouldn't like to make this experience as a soul. So I'm really grateful that they are doing it and giving more contrast to me to make my choice easier. No, I don't want to go that way. So it's so clear which way I want to go.
Yeah, beautiful point. And one last thing I want to bring up throughout this interview, and I earlier I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to distract. But we're getting towards the end of wrapping everything up, and I believe three different times I've heard a clock going off, grandfather clock
Yes, I
going
have
off,
one.
and I don't know why. This is just me or whatever, but when each time I heard that, I was picking up on stuff. Was Did you have that clock when your ex-husband was around?
The clock is from my ex-husband's auntie. And I love this old clock with the tick tick, which remind me of grandmother times, and everything is a little bit more relaxed. And that's a different approach to time with the tick tock clocks than this electrical and just showing the time. And I love these antiques. Of course, they have some energy, and you picked it up
Well,
perfectly.
more specifically, your ex-husband's energy. Did he enjoy that clock? Did he
Oh, he
like having it around?
He had many, more than just this one. He had a lot of antique clocks in his flat.
Throughout the interview, I know it's uncalled for, but like in the past month or so, information, stuff that's completely irrelevant. I shouldn't even been focusing on that clock, but things happen and stuff just kind of comes to me. But there is some sort of like almost like every time that clock goes off, it's a reminder of him through frequency and vibration. I don't know. It's just weird. There was some like overwhelming connection between him and that frequency going out, and maybe throughout all the years of him being into that and resonating with that, now that when it goes off, a part of him is still in that frequency and the gears and the mechanics of the universe, we could say, chiming through
You're
frequency.
right, and you're not the first person to say this. Some of my clairvoyant friends said the same thing. So you're perfectly right. You're a medium. You're picked up.
No, I'm not nothing. I don't. Don't use those titles with me.
We take away the title, but you felt and sensed that the energy of my beloved husband still is around this clock. And that's great. Wonderful. Thank you. I know it. I knew it. But one more confirmation. And it's also such a great thing about, these old clock workers who were really working with these tiny wheels and putting it all together and inventing it. And the whole astrological cycle, harmonic convergence, and the planets and how it's all going now. This is a giant clockwork with the calendar,
universe, the galaxy.
Yeah,
it's a giant clock.
So this clock has got some universal connection and reminds me of even more than just the time and energy connections. It's also like the clockwork of the universe, because we're coming really close. And my spirits, so they don't like future prophecies. They said years ago, soon, it's coming soon. And now they are saying very soon. So I'm getting some kind of measurement, although they don't want to say something about the future. But we're right in the beginning of something great, and I can feel it. I think everybody can feel it. People, trust your guts. Listen to your hearts. It's so simple.
Yeah, and I have always said no one knows thy hour or date. People that make these insane predictions on this date, this is going to happen. It never does. That's not how it works. There's too many factors in place. There is a set timing for everything, but no one on this planet is in control of that. And no one can be in control of universal grand timing. No extraterrestrial. No extraterrestrial, no human being, no dimensional being. It's so many different little gears and pieces. It is what it is. And when it happens for a reason. It's not coincidence. And as you were describing, the overall process, and that, as you were saying, like, it's happening soon, very soon. And before you know, it's just happening. And once it's happening, what else is there to do? Yeah.
Exactly.
So why worry about it at all? Because once that very soon, it's happening. Once it's happening, what are you gonna do? Like, so it's good not to worry about it and just be where you need to be here, right now, in this moment, this second, this universe, this density. There's a reason all of us crazy souls, you came from the first wave. I don't even know what wave I am, but it's something else. It doesn't matter what wave we come from. We were talking about this. Those that are on a wave recognize each other, regardless if it's the first wave, the second wave, third wave, 10th wave. Isn't it all on the same cosmic ocean?
Exactly. We are drops in the ocean.
That's it. And regardless of what wave we may be riding on, we're all on the same ocean. So just go with it. Go with
Exactly.
it.
I love it.
Well, this has absolutely been amazing. I really hope to have you come back on in the future. And I know it's tip of the iceberg, but I really just want to thank you again for, sharing your story through my first contact. That was so awesome and amazing. I didn't expect for for all of that to happen. That was not my intention, but the universe took control of that, and I was just blown away by everyone's 10-minute video of their experiences. And thank you so much for sharing that. And Gabrielle, if you could you just provide how people can reach out to you if they want to talk to you, send you an email? Can you go over what you're doing and any sort of way people could reach out to you in case they want to, do something with you, or they want to ask you questions on how to help them discover what they're going through, etc., or rediscover? I need to be careful. Rediscover what their abilities and what they've been through. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, firstly, I would like to say there are surely enough good QHHT practitioners in the USA. So you don't need, because I don't do QHHT via computer, but there are already people who are doing this. It's called Beyond QHHT. So you have nearly all the tools and the good people also there in USA. You have mediums also. But if somebody really wants to contact me, they can send me an email to my email account. It's my first boo in English. It's the G of Gabrielle and then Heikamp at yahoo.de for Germany. So maybe you
DE.
can put it in the description box because you got my email. That's the best way, more or less, to
Yeah,
reach me.
perfect. And down in the description, I will have that. And I think that's great that you do in person. And as you said, Gabriel, I do work with a lot of people that do regression hypnosis. Not the full QHT situation, but regression hypnosis through online and video cams and stuff like that. But after talking to you off camera, on camera, and stuff, um, just by having a conversation with you, it's very enlightening, and I'm sure a lot of people may be able to resonate with that and some of the information just from connecting with you and sharing their stories. And I know that you will definitely be interested on hearing other people's stories. So I can almost guarantee you there will be people reaching out. You know my show. You've seen it. And people, a big part of what we do is connecting people with other people. And in
Exactly.
my first contact, you were not the only German.
I know. I saw the other one.
I didn't plan that. That's the universe. So
Really
I have
interesting, huh?
yeah, I apparently have a lot of people in Germany that really are interested in what I'm doing. I don't know what it is or why. It's people all around the world. So there may be people that live within your vicinity, live in Germany, that could be watching this, that want to reach out to you and maybe, something a little bit more personal. But man, just I know I can't come to Germany and have a QHT regression therapy hypnosis session, but just our conversations are so therapeutic, and your wisdom and your knowledge. I'm going to keep saying it. you remind me so much. You're not, but I mean, you are Gabriel. You're a whole nother sovereign divine being, but you really remind me of like the German version of Dolores Cannon in every shape and form. Not that you are Dolores or anything like that, but just your mentality and your universal consciousness and knowledge is really truly incredible. And talking to you privately and throughout the interview, it's a pleasure to know you, and I'm happy that you are here on this planet right now because we need more people just like you.
And like you. So I'm very honored with that comparison of Dolores Cannon, because I really, really love her. She made a big difference in my life's journey. And I love her tools, her methods, and all her books. What she gained on information is incredible. And don't make yourself small. It's all about frequency. You attract people that need to hear or find something you can provide. And it's really important that we all come together and share our puzzle pieces, because nobody can with his only single piece do anything. We need to put it together. So thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me a chance. And I hope that we could touch some hearts of some dear souls we might not even know.
As long as we reach one person that needs to
Exactly.
hear this, it's worth it, and we would do it again and again and again. And we all got a piece of that puzzle. I say it all the time, and I cannot agree with you more. And we're all needed in this discovery of rediscovering our consciousness and our connectivity to the rest of the cosmos, dimensions, and realities. So, Gabriel, thank you so much. Everyone, if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button, give the video a share. Also, make sure you subscribe to the page. You can go in the description and find Gabriel's information, her email, and reach out to her if you're interested in talking with her more, or you have something similar you want to tell her, or etc. Whatever you want, please feel free to reach out to her. She's a wonderful being of light, and her soul is truly a blessing in my life and so many others out there. And make sure you give a shout out to her and show her some love. And with that being said, also in the description, you can see some stuff coming up for the Journey to Truth conference in May. I will be there. I hope to see all of you there if you want to come hang out with me and share your experiences in person. I'm not this super cool guy. I'll kick it with you and we can have real conversations. And also, you can find my contact, other information, my first contact. If you would like me to share your experiences, make sure you send the video in, and you can be in my new series, My First Contact, which allows all of you, the watchers and experiencers, to share their stories, just like Gabriel did. And then later on, I do a full interview. But just to get it out there, I can help 10 people at a time versus one and one and one. You can also find the merchandise down there in the description, yada, 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 a bunch of other stuff. I'm not here to sell stuff. I'm here to help people expand their consciousness and get in tune with the universe. So with that being said, we'll see you next time. Much love to you, Gabriel, and all of you that are in Germany. Much love
Thank
to
you.
Germany and everyone else from around the world. And we will see you next time. This is a new era of contact. We are the disclosure. We're making it happen. It's already happened. The envoys are here. We're dropped off. The waves are here, and we're just surfing with it, right? That's what we're doing. We're out here surfing and spreading enlightenment, knowledge, peace, understanding, and tolerance for all to come together so we can make this solar system the best solar system in the entire universe. That's our goal. That's why we came to this rock to begin with. So let's do it. We'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
I didn't want to go public without evidence because I knew no one would believe me. The entire incident happened about 5 to 6 minutes in total. And my mom shouts really loud, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" At no point did the two men in black or the Air Force gentleman ask my mother or her friends what did they see. They looked human, but they did weird things. The men in black, they said, "You will report it as a helicopter crash, or we will take your son away." The men in black play the narrative and the media outlets spew it back out. This was 1991, Project Mockingbird in full effect.
Hey everyone, check out the Order of Light merchandise store. We got a lot of different t-shirts there. The Humans Aren't Real, Lower Always Creek Incident. We got tank tops to Merkaba. We got stickers, glasses, a lot of different glasses, so get thirsty. We got bags. I live in New Jersey. We don't have bags anymore, so it's really nice. We got flip-flops, hoodies, and all the ladies out there, we got a bunch of awesome merchandise. Please join the YouTube membership for my channel. You will get exclusive badges, really awesome emojis, member-only live streams, posts, and chats and connections with me for only $5.99 a month. See you there.